Hey, what is up, everybody? It's Dustin Hill, the host of the Faith to Impact and Income show. I'm so excited to be able to talk today about something that I think is really important, and I think you're really going to like because it's really, really cool. So here's the thing is, the title for today is, if you're not doing this one thing, you're probably not trying hard enough. Okay. And so you're probably wondering what that is, but really quickly, for those listening behind me, I have a sign that says be happy. Okay. So be happy is something I see every day, and it's something I try to do every day because I really feel like, why not? I really feel like happiness is a choice, and so we can choose. And here's the thing, like, it's not always easy for me either. Like, to be honest, this morning was a little bit rough because I just was talking to Amy about some business, things and decisions, and I don't know. And sometimes I feel a little bit, I guess self-doubt creeps in, right? And it's something that can be very common, even for people that are really, really successful. It happens. And so I just, it was a little bit hard this morning, but I choose to be happy, choose to do that, choose to look to God and know that He'll continue to provide and be there for us all the time. And especially when we ask for His help. And so on to today's topic. So what is the one thing that, you should be doing? And if you're not doing this, then you're probably not trying hard enough. So what that is just to kind of introduce this, is something like, I was in a challenge yesterday. Okay. So I'm in a challenge this week, not really following all of the content, because that's not really my goal to go through the whole challenge, but for me, I want to go through and understand some of the different pieces of how some other people are doing it, because I'm continuing to learn and refine everything that I'm doing and teaching my students so that I can really help them. And so that's really the goal. And so I was in this challenge and heard someone talk about something that they've noticed with a lot of other entrepreneurs, and things that they said that is really successful. And I totally agree with it. And the thing that it is failing. Okay, so failing fast is the thing that they brought up, is that knowing when to pivot, knowing when to, we're going to try this thing out. We're going to fail at it the first time around, or we're going to go and do it and just see if it even works. And then we're going to, go from there. And I think that is so important. And I want to talk to that because here's the thing for me. I've had a lot of different things over the last 10 years that I've posted on social media. Hey guys, I have this new app. Hey guys, I'm helping parents. Hey guys, I'm helping with events and different things. And so, for me, one of the internal battles that I've had, which you may relate with, is feeling like, oh, everyone's just going to think that I'm just always changing and I'm always doing different things and I'm always like this and this and this, right? Well, first of all, that's just kind of silly to worry about that, but it's a real thing, because I've dealt with that for sure. But the thing is, I'm so glad that I've gone and I've actually been taking action. I've gone and I've tried these things, and I've been able to fail at a lot of different things because it's got me to where I am today, and it's helped me to pivot and to go to different ways. And I'm sure I'll have plenty of pivots going forward, right? Like, one of the things I tried last week is what I call a summit challenge, right? Where I do essentially a summit and a challenge together. I bring people together. One of the big things that I learned is that I didn't, get buy-in as far as promoting it beforehand, right? It was kind of just this thing, okay, I just got to put it together. Okay, let's go do it. Oh, it's a shorter timeline, and I go ahead and do that. And, we didn't have the turnout that I was really hoping for. We still had a great turnout. It was still awesome to have, almost 100 people there, which is great. I mean, you think about getting 100 people in a room, sweet, and then there's also people just in the Facebook group that participated, that watched it. And so it was a great success, and I'm so grateful for it. But I was able to pick up on, okay, yeah, I need to have buy-in beforehand as far as, things to do. And actually one of the speakers and one of my clients, she was actually telling me, hey, do you want some feedback on this? And that was exactly what she said, was to do that. And so again, I'm just so glad that I could do that and fail in a way. Now, I don't think it was really a failure, but again, to try that out and see, okay, this is how I can adjust it, because then it allows me to go and figure things out that much faster, right? Imagine that I said, okay, I'm going to do this summit challenge at the end of the year. I'm going to spend the rest of the year preparing for this summit challenge. I'm going to have 4 speakers on, and I'm going to really make sure that they know about it and my people know about it, right? It's kind of course, that doesn't really make sense as far as an event perspective, letting people know way in advance or whatever. But I'm just saying, I could have done that. I could have said, you know what, this is the thing. I'm just going to wait until the end of the year till I have it perfect, and then we'll see. right? So let's say I do that and I go to the end of the year and then we say, oh, okay, well, I forget, I didn't actually try it out yet. So I didn't realize that I need to get buy-in for having people help promote and all of that. And so then it could have been the same result, but I just wasted a ton of time, right? So I hope that, paints a little bit of a picture there. But I really do think that that's a super important key point. And one of my brother-in-laws that he's has this, I think it's like the startup formula book or something like that, but he's been going through that. And one of the things that he talked about is that, like they say, is that pivoting is one of the most important things. And especially, I get it, right? Like it can be really hard because when you have something that you really want to do, and then you're going and doing it and you're passionate about it. It's something that you care about. It's this idea you came up. And so there's some things you really care about, but then when you have to pivot, it can be hard because you're tied to that. Oh, but this was so great. And this was why, but then again, sometimes it can be hard to get rid of that. But I just really being able to fail is really important. And I've seen that from so many different people too. A couple examples, Russell Brunson, he talked about joining some mastermind and working with some coach. And the coach, one of the first things he wanted to hear is that he had gone through some sort of failure. He's like, if you have not gone through some sort of failure, then you're not the right person for me. It's like, okay, interesting. Then if you talk to like Steve Larson. So Steve Larson, he had, I think it was 13 failed businesses until he had his first one. And then he's done several after that have worked. But I think even since then, he's had some that have failed too. And so the fact that like those 13 failures really helped him get to where he wanted and helped him get to that point. And so failing fast is really important. And so that's why I just encourage you to continue to take action and to continue to do things, because it can be difficult. Even right before I jumped on here, right? I was just kind of like I mentioned earlier today, just not feeling great and feeling kind of down on myself, some self-doubt. And, the first thought that was like, yeah, I'm not even going to do a podcast today. I don't need to do it. Right. But I just was like, you know what? I'm going to do it because I'm going to punch fear in the face. Let's punch fear in the face and just make it happen. And sure, I'm going to fail a lot, in so many different ways, but I don't really care. It doesn't matter because that's part of the progression. That's part of how we can be successful. And actually the key, right, is the keys we have to do that. And a quick story about this too. So and I may have mentioned this before to some people, but, when I was in Croatia, I was learning Croatian, right? I'd learned beforehand. I felt pretty awesome when I was getting Croatia, like that I could speak really well. Found out pretty quickly, especially hearing other like native speakers, speak it. It was a lot harder than I thought. But I was very methodical and very I wanted to be perfect in speaking. And so that's what I was very on the side of, I'm going to speak less and speak slowly so that I can be perfect. And so I did that. And I remember someone praising me and like, man, that was like a perfect sentence. Wow, that's so cool. All this stuff. And so I felt pretty good about myself, but like the progress was pretty slow. And I just figured, well, I guess that's just how it goes. But I had one of my friends, Ted, he came on and he came a couple months after me, and he was like, he just would make mistakes all the time. He just didn't care. He would just try, say this, say that, say this. And then people would correct him, and then he would learn, and then he'd keep going. And so he was on the mindset of, I'm just going to fail fast. Let's fail, because people will help me and I'll go. And then, I'll be able to change in that way. And so if you think about your business, like it's the same type of thing. It's better for you to try this thing for a month, to try this thing for a week or whatever, however long it is, and then to see, okay, does that work or not? You do need to make sure you give it enough, juice in a sense, enough time and enough effort, of course. But at the same time, it's so much better to do that and then shift gears than to think about it for a month and say, well, maybe I'll do that now. And then you start doing it. And then you find out like you wasted an entire month. And so that's the key, is to be able to really make that happen. And the one thing I do want to point out too with all of this is that I feel like this is kind of like riding a bike in my opinion, when you go through things. So, I was talking to a client today that I helped her with a challenge. And so she like we went through it, and it took a lot to prepare, to get all the content, to get all the tech set up and do all that type of stuff. But this next month, we're going to be doing the challenge again, right? Basically the same content. We might make a few tweaks here and there, but like it should be pretty much the same. And so going into it, it's such a different feeling, because when you're riding a bike for the first time, it's difficult to figure out all the things. I got to make sure I'm going fast enough. I got to make sure I'm pedaling. I got to make sure that I'm, not tipping, and all these different things. But once you really get it, it's so much easier going forward to do everything else, to look around, to do jumps, to do all these different types of things. Because you've learned that first step, right? And so that's what's super cool about failing too, is that let's say you go and do a challenge, you go do a summit, you do something, and then you fail. You feel like that you failed. Right? Well, let's say you want to do that thing again. Maybe you just need, like, challenges, summits, like live events, they all work, right? Like you see them all over the place. They clearly work. But like maybe how you did certain things didn't work super well. Well, here's the thing. Next time you go and do that, now you have so much knowledge and so much experience, even through a failure, right? That now it's so much easier to make it happen. Now you don't feel as, uncomfortable on camera. Now you don't feel like, hey, I don't know how to get the tech set up, or send out the emails, or whatever it might be. That the next time around, it's like you've already ridden the bike, and it's that much easier to keep going and to make it happen. And so I just want you to continue to push forward and know that, like, hey, it's okay. It's okay to fail. And that's actually a good sign. It's a very good sign if you're failing, because that means that you're learning, you're growing, you're continuing to figure out the things that are working for you, for your audience, and all that type of stuff. And so I appreciate you tuning into this. I think it's really important, and it's something that's, again, been difficult for me too, because feeling like a failure, feeling like I've messed up and I haven't done things the right way, or whatever I might be thinking. But it's like, it's really, really cool that we can all continue to make a difference. And I know that you can too. And so, I appreciate you tuning in here. I know that God's watching over you and helping you. And especially when you're asking for his help, he'll be there. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.